Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Original Peoples here with RWB Sports. I'm sitting here with a prospect from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm talking to none other than Guillermo Gutierrez, 10-0 in the Super Flyweight division. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hello, yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, well, for the fans that are out there who don't know or who haven't heard of you, go ahead and give them a little background of who you are and where you're going in the sport of boxing.
Yeah, so my name is Guillermo Gutierrez. I'm 10 and 0 in the super flyweight division. I'm based out of San Antonio, Texas, and I'm just starting my journey. Hopefully, get to the world titles someday, and just staying busy in the gym and waiting for that call.
Well, definitely going to get your shot at it being 10-0. You only have a couple more fights and you'll put yourself on the platform for contention. But for those that don't know, let's go ahead and give them a a shot at your amateur career. What got you to this point?
So I've been boxing since I was 8 years old. I've been fighting since I was eight. I had 120 amateur fights. I fought all over the country, a bunch of national tournaments, state tournaments. I made the Team USA in 2017. I was ranked number two in my weight at 114 pounds. Then I got invited a few times to Colorado Springs, and then traveled with Team USA to Bulgaria. Fought one international fighter up there, and all that amateur experience is leading me to where I'm at right now, 10 and 0.
There you go. An extensive amateur career that got you ready for this platform. So we'll go ahead and get into the interview because I have a few questions that I want to ask. And then we'll get to the end of the show and we'll have a little fun because I always, when I do interviews, I always want to see where the fighters are, what fighters they like, what big fights are coming up that they're interested in. So we'll get into that. But let's first get into what inspired you. I know you said you've been fighting since you was 8 years old as an amateur, but what or who inspired you to get into the sport of boxing?
So I started boxing when I was eight. So it's a funny story. Was me and my dad were just driving around town one day, and he just saw a boxing gym, and we stopped by, and he signed me up. Then the rest was just came naturally. So I've been boxing ever since then, and it's not a crazy story. It was just a real simple story.
Right. I
I
mean,
haven't asked him why he signed me up, but I need to ask him someday.
right. But it's a unique story though because you don't find too many people that's like, hey, let's go out here and play boxing, or let's go out here and see if we can box. Not everybody wake up and want to get beat on.
Yeah.
So
And
apparently dad had something. He seen something in you, and he seen the athleticism in you and knew that, this would be the sport for you.
yeah, and as a kid being 8 years old, you just go along with whatever your parents tell you to do.
Right. We say there's no talking back.
Yeah, you just gotta
You
go with it.
Well, now, as an amateur, I know you prepare differently than you do as a professional. How can you distinguish between the two? Give me two incidences, one as an amateur, one as a professional, on how you mentally prepare yourself before a fight. And are there any specific, like little rituals that you do before a fight?
So right now is my first 10 pro fights. I try to listen to music, then I try to read a book, but I just I just be in the present, try to embrace the moment, and just let all the raw emotions I just feel all that and just go with the flow and just get to the ring and get out. I don't really have a
Okay.
specific or anything too specific that I do. I just be in the back, just try to chill out and just get ready for fight time.
Right. Now, did you do that as an amateur as well?
Yeah, so yeah, amateur too, same thing. I try to listen to music. I try to keep my mind busy, but just I just sit there, sat in the back, and just try to be cool and just wait till the bell rings.
Right. Right. Well, I had one like when I was fighting, I would never wash my hand wraps. That
Uh huh.
was my thing. All the way up until fight time, I would wear the same hand wraps. I would never wash them because I felt like I would wash the luck out of them, you know.
Yeah, you good luck charm.
So yeah, that was my little weird quirky, ritual that I did, before fights is, my hand wraps was everything, that was your bread and butter.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, sir.
as far as, a day to day, training regimen, walk us through a day of training with Gutierrez.
So mostly I don't know. I also work. I have a regular job outside of boxing. So when I wake up at 5 in the morning, work till 2:30, get off, then head straight to the gym, be there all the way to nighttime. Then on my days off, work out in the morning, then in the afternoon go run or hit strength conditioning. It just varies between the week.
Okay. Yeah, and you talk about training and going into detail a little bit more because I know the biggest part of training as an amateur, I went through all the weight classes, but once I turned professional, I was in the heavyweight division. And I know now, I don't know how closely you watch the heavyweight division, but to me, the heavyweights, they don't seem to be conditioned the way we had to condition back then. We ran a lot. We
Hmm.
did a lot of
Moving around the
cardio.
ring.
Yes, a lot of moving around the ring, a lot of jumping rope, a lot of running. We'd run 7, 8, 9 miles, and then we would run sprints on top of that. So, how important is conditioning in the lighter weights? I know you all throw a lot more punches. You're a lot faster. You're a lot
Yeah,
quicker.
definitely throw a lot. Throw a lot.
Yeah. So, how important is conditioning, and what do you do for conditioning to get ready for a fight?
Yeah, conditioning plays a big role in, especially in the lower weights, but not just low weights, but in like in boxing.
Mhm.
So we do cardio, we do sprints outside, and then we do some more sprints on the assault bike. That's less wear joints on the legs, but and we do a lot of heavy bag drills. So just to keep the intensity level high and real high. And
Right.
sometimes my coach he'll count how many punches I throwing around, and I gotta try to beat that each as the round goes on.
Okay. Now,
So
do
yeah, it's a
you
lot of it's a lot of cardio and high intensity work.
Right. Now, as you're training, do you picture or visualize your opponent? Do you set scenarios in your head while you're training, getting ready for your
Oh,
opponent?
yes, sir. Always. So when I have a fight coming up, that's always in the back of my mind. Just try to beat him. Try to beat not only him, but I guess the biggest like enemy is you too. So you got to be better than you were yesterday.
Right.
So it's a
Exactly.
little bit
Without
of
question.
both.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
good
sir.
that's a great answer. That's a great way of looking at it. You have to do a little bit of both. That brings me to my next question, because while you're in the process of mentally and physically visualizing your opponent. I know a lot of fighters now at this day and time, you can always go to YouTube or you can go to Google or something and find your opponent and look and see, how they train. But how do you mentally prepare? I know you say that, physically you do a lot of cardio and stuff like that, but what do you do mentally or spiritually if you have a spiritual side? How do you dive into that and get ready for an opponent?
I think just blocking out the noise and just knowing the task at hand and just trying to be disciplined and cutting out everything that's going to distract you and that might throw you off course. And also for me, is just praying and talking to God and just that settles me and calms me down a little bit and it helps me a lot.
Right.
And reading my
He's
Bible
always the
sometimes.
calm before the storm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. God is always the calm before the storm, and I'm glad to hear you say that you know you do have a spiritual side because you couldn't get in that ring of war without having some sort of spiritual belief behind you because
Yeah,
it's not an easy sport. You
it's
know,
not. Yeah, it can be tough.
yeah, it can be tough. You could go home with a lot of headaches every day.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So in your between your amateur career, you say you had 120 something fights as an amateur,
Yes, sir.
and now you have 10 fights as a professional. Not only do you have 10 fights, all of your fights were unanimous decisions, except your one majority decision that you had and you won KO. So that's letting me know that you're very dedicated to your sport. Between those amateur and pro, describe a moment that set the tone for you that said, hey, I'm good at this. My future is right here at the end of my arms.
Yes, sir. I think yeah, my pro debut. I'll say that was it. Like I always wanted to turn pro, but having your first pro fight, that's one that you know that all right, it's serious now. You gotta take it serious. You can't lose. You gotta you gotta be focused and hopefully become a world champion one day. So I say my pro debut because all my family and friends were out there. It was here locally in San Antonio. It
Uh-huh.
felt like a main event that night. Like I think I had more cheers
Then the main
than all the
event,
yeah than the main event.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yes sir.
You're a hometown favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
know.
It's always fun fighting in the hometown.
Oh yeah. And hopefully one day I will get out there to see you. I know you have a fight coming up on March 16th.
Yes sir.
You
March
just signed with
16th.
uh-huh. You
I
just
just
signed
signed
with
with
Gwen Legge. Talk
yes.
about that.
Yeah,
Talk
so
about
I
that.
was signed with her back in last month in January
Uh-huh.
with her management Eruption Boxing, and things are looking great. I'm excited to see what she has in plan for me, and yeah, man, our
Uh-huh.
first fight with her is March 16th out in Cleveland, Texas, and it's gonna be an excellent fight.
Okay.
Eight
You
eight
know who your
rounders.
opponents? Uh-huh.
Yeah, my opponent's Ephraim Bowie. He's out over there in Houston area,
Uh-huh.
so it's gonna be a great fight. We're both undefeated, and we're going in there not wanting to lose. So it's a to be a great fight. I can't
Right.
wait.
Right. And I'm excited to hear the outcome and to see, how that fight is going to transpire because both of you are undefeated. Both of you are hard workers. You throw a few more punches than he does.
Hmm.
He's a little heavy handed, but you more of a crafty boxer, and you throw more punches and you move a lot more. Uh, are you going into this fight uh, with that in mind and using that talent to, take him into the later rounds and try to, sink him, as we say in the boxing world?
Yeah, and like always, like every coach says or trainer says, you got to touch the body early, and yeah, my coach, we have a great game plan, and I'm just I can't wait for March 16 and hopefully we execute it and come out on top that day.
Yes, and I hope so too. Hopefully, because I definitely want to get a post fight interview. Hopefully, I will be able to interview you again before the fight, because I know you're getting ready to head out Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. You're heading to.
Riverside, California, out of
Okay.
we're going to be sparring at Robert Garcia's boxing academy. So I'm gonna be there for three days and flying back home. But I'm gonna go up there and get some great work, some great sparring work out in Cali, and hopefully that will take me to the next level.
Okay. Well, anytime you go to a gym where they have multiple champions or they have a stable of potential champions, you're always going to learn. You're always
Yes,
going to
sir.
get better. And the people you put yourself around depends on how you turn out.
Yes, sir. That's right. Yeah.
I would like to get you up here to Philadelphia and get you some sparring up here with some of the guys up here. I don't know if you've heard of King Promotions, but he has a a gym up here that's got a lot of future champions in it.
Yes, yes,
Um,
sir. Yeah, I heard of them.
oh yeah. So in looking at your opponent, and it's not we're not talking about March 16th. This is just any opponent. How do you strategize, or how do you break down your opponent as rounds go on? I know you start from day one when you're signed the contract and you find out who you're fighting. Walk us through uh, just a regular game plan on how you would strategize against someone that you're about to compete against.
Obviously, you gotta first find if there's film on them, and then from that, you just gotta look at their tendencies and just work from that. Then my coach, obviously, he gets the game plan, and then we execute it in the gym. Then from the gym to the fight, and hopefully it pays off. But mainly,
Okay.
it's just watching their tendencies and see what they do wrong, and what they do right too, so we can counter that.
Okay. Now, do I know you go into each fight individually and you take each fighter as they are. Have you ever run across a fighter that you went into it thinking they were one way and then you had to readjust, you had to regroup and in the middle of the fight to restructure your game plan?
Hmm. I wouldn't say. I would say like so. I got cut my one of my fourth to fifth fight, and that threw me off a little bit. So I had to adjust
Okay.
from that. So because there was
Okay.
blood in my eye, I got cut in the first round, the first 30 seconds, and blood was rushing down my eye. I couldn't see, so I had to step back a little bit and all right, just box and just be cautious and yeah. And I still won that fight, but that
Right.
was an example I'll say.
Okay.
Yes,
Where
sir.
you had to readjust mid fight to come out victorious.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yeah, because the guy saw that blood coming down my eye, and he started going for the kill.
right. He got hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings me to my next question because I know the transition from amateur to pro is a little different. For one, as an amateur, for those that don't know, that's out there that's watching, in the amateurs, you have to wear a t-shirt and you have to wear a protective headgear. Everything else in boxing is still the same. The gloves, the hand wraps, the cup, all of that, the shoes are still the same. How drastic was the transition going from wearing a shirt and a headgear to going pro and not wearing that at all?
I think just the lights were a little bit bigger. The stage was a little bit bigger, and the gloves were just less lighter because you feel those 8 ounce gloves.
Right. Yeah.
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 Yes,
Now,
sir. So
yeah, I'm
yes,
sorry, I
sir.
didn't mean to cut you off. Say it again.
Oh no, just the lights were just the stage was just brighter, and the gloves were just lighter, so you can feel those punches.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the things that going from amateur to pro, your gloves get smaller.
Yeah.
Your gloves get smaller. And with you, lighter guys, with the smaller gloves, your hands are that much faster.
Yeah.
When I would spar, I used to spar lightweights, light heavyweights, and if I could get one punch off, I was doing good. But most of it was for defense. And they was hitting me 30, 40 times before I could even swing. I'm like, come on, guys,
Yeah,
slow
come
down.
down a little bit,
Yeah, slow down a
right?
little bit. Let me get some work in. And in boxing, they say that's the loneliest sport in the world. And true enough, because when you climb through those ropes, you climb through with a team. But when the bell rings, it's mano a mano. You're out there on your own. It's you against him. But you still have a team when you walk to the ring. You have a team when you get in the ring. How important are they in your everyday living, not just as a coach, a trainer, a cut man in the boxing world, but in everyday life?
They play a big part in what I do in boxing and what I do on outside of the ring. So I've been with them ever since I was about 10 years old, and like after every fight, we're always trying to get better. They're always telling me right from wrong. They always keep my head focused and cut off all the distractions. Then on the outside of boxing, they're real good people. They want the best for me. They want the best for me. Just hopefully I become something out of me.
Right.
And they're
Right.
real great people.
And that's one thing that will take you far as well, because there's nothing worse than, a fighter being worried about his team staying together or how much his team support him when he should be concentrating, on the task at hand, which is, fighting. Uh, you say that you all have it's an amateur gym. You're the only professional fighter that they have.
Yes, sir. Correct.
How much of an influence are you in the gym when the amateur kids are there? Because I know when I was younger, I would be in the gym with a professional fighter, and I used to think that they were Muhammad Ali. You know, how much of an influence are you on the young kids at your gym?
It's a lot because they're always asking me for tips, and like they always ask me, "Hey, can you show me how you do this move, or how can I block this, or how can I get in closer?" Yeah, they're always I don't say bugging me, but they're always in my ear trying to steal some knowledge, and I
Right,
give it to them, and it's every time I go to the gym, it's great seeing the kids there and just the atmosphere. It's just great because sometimes when I go train in the morning, it's just me and the coaches, and it can get boring sometimes. So when I go in the
right.
evening, it's fun seeing everybody.
You break up the monotony. You walk in, and kids' eyes light up because little do you know, you're a role model for those kids.
Yes, sir.
You're showing those kids without saying anything that there's possibility out there for them.
Yeah, and I know they definitely see my hard work, and I don't speak a lot at the gym sometimes, but they definitely see what I do and the work I put in, so they're watching because when I'm hitting the bag or when I'm sparring, I see them from the corner of my eye.
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're definitely watching. Yeah.
yes, sir.
They're like little sponges. They're soaking up everything you're doing right now.
Yeah,
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's one thing in uh, going to the gym and in training and doing what you do, but it's another thing in going to the gym and bringing life into others that come in there. And not everybody's going to be a boxer. They may end up being a great trainer, but watching you, they can decide on what they want to be.
yes,
And
sir.
that's kudos and hats off to you. I mean, that's a great job. I can't be, I can say that I'm very proud of you for stepping up and doing that, because some of those kids that you may be a male role model to them.
Yeah, and sometimes they just need someone to talk to, just like a
Yeah,
friend.
right,
So just there,
exactly.
I'm just there to have a quick convo too with them if they want.
That's perfect, and they love it. They eat it up. Uh, as far as a young fighter coming up, because that leads me into the next question, being a role model to our youth. What advice would you give a young fighter coming up who is first time coming into the gym, nervous? What advice would you give them coming into the gym and wanting to be a boxer?
You just gotta know it. Like boxing can be tough sometimes, and you gotta ask yourself, are you willing to endure it and just go through it? And if you're wanting to compete, an amateur or pro, you gotta be disciplined and make sacrifices in order to achieve whatever you're trying to do in boxing.
Right.
But main
And
thing is just asking yourself, how bad do you want it?
and going out and get it. You know,
Yes, sir. Yes,
go out
sir.
and get it. It's right there for you. You just got to go out there and get it. I ask uh, young adults all the time when I do a motivational speaking at places. If you could dream right now, and you knew when you woke up that dream would come true, how big would you dream?
That's a good question. I gotta think about that one.
You know, well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just, I'm just
yeah,
saying, you know, how
yeah.
big would you dream? And they would come back with all this elaborate stuff. They would have millions of dollars. They would have, you know, five or six different companies. I was like, well, you can have that now. That stuff
Uh-huh.
is still within reach. You just have to go get it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
correct.
you have to make your dream, just like you're doing right now. At 8 years old, you probably never thought that you would be a contender to be a world champion or to be a prospect. But now
Yes,
here
sir.
you are because as you went on in your amateur career, making it to nationals, making it to the U.S. team, making it to Olympic trials, you start seeing that it's possible. And so your dreams start coming true.
Yeah, and all that was with the hard work, dedication, and just sacrifices.
Yes, yes. And you went after it. And speaking of sacrifices, explain to our youth that are watching this, that some of the sacrifices that you had to go through and some of the sacrifices that you had to endure to get to where you are now at 10 and 0.
Yeah, so when I was amateur fighting all those national tournaments, it was a lot being away from school, being away from your friends, being away from family, holidays, your own birthdays, and just all the good foods out there, and just being in the gym, all spending all your time and energy in the gym, trying to get better and being in shape. Hopefully, you could be number one in the country. And same thing as I'm doing right now in pro, and just the mind, this the small things that are gonna take me to the next level.
Right, right. And that's one of the things that makes a good fighter or a great fighter is understanding what he has to sacrifice, understanding what he has to give up, and not being afraid of giving it up to go after his dream. So,
Yes, sir.
Gutierrez, I can't say nothing but great things about you. You're a humble young man. I can't see nothing but brightness in your future. I will be following you. I will be supporting you. But right now, I want to give you the floor. Give a shout out to your coaches. Give a shout out to your manager, Gwen, and just give to anybody that's watching, your friends, your family, give them a shout out, say hello to them, give their names, and then we'll get ready to close the show. And I want to thank you for taking time out to be on the show tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so I wanna shout out to my coaches, shout out to Gwen for setting this up. Happy to be on your talk show right here. And yeah, my family and friends and supporters. March 16 is my next fight. I hope to get the W for y'all. And yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram, GMOOZZ, and on Facebook at Guillermo Gutierrez. Yeah, just
All
follow the
right.
journey.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely going to follow it. I'm definitely going to support you. I talked to Gwen and told her that RWB Sports is going to be in your corner. Hopefully, we will get together and collaborate on some things to be able to support you even more. I look forward to having the post-fight interview with you. I'm looking forward to it, but I won't hold you anymore. I know you just got out of the gym, just got off of work, you're tired, you're ready to go shower, get in the bed, rest and relax. But thank you once again, Gutierrez, for coming on here and doing this with me. This is Reginald Peoples with RWB Sports, and we'll see you in the turn.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, buddy. Have a great night.
In the
Yes, sir.
middle
You
of the
too.
ring, we about